right. Everything's looking good, looking good. Perfection. So, welcome to the show, everybody. It's Paint with Josh. It's Friday night freestyle. We're going to have a good old time. So, let me show you what we've got so far across our canvas. Oh, let's grab this. All I took was a bit of our Meaden Crimson, a bit of our Bob Ross Indian Yellow, and a bit of our Gamblin Dioxazine Purple. Everywhere. You can see it pretty clearly depending on which platform you're watching on. If you're watching on TikTok or YouTube or Facebook, it might change, might look a little different, but for the most part, we can all see our undery colors. There we go. There we go. Get the right lighting in here. Whenever we do those blue lights behind it, it surely messes with our lighting up here for sure. It's super bright now. But in any case, took our crimson, our purple, and our Indian yellow, kind of put it all over the place. Now we're just going to basically paint with white and allow all of these colors to shine through. I'm also going to be using my 12-inch portal. It's an old TV box, right? Customizable streaming options that I cut out of an old TV box and some cardboard, right? I took my 5-gallon bucket, I put it down on top of a TV box, I traced it out, and then I cut it out with a razor blade. Super easy. Then this is an 8-inch by 2-inch cake pan that we like to use. It's got all sorts of colors all over it. A paper plate works good as well. 2 different size paper plates would be just perfect for this painting if you don't have our portals or your cake pans already ready, right? Now let's grab some white. You guys got to tell me where you're watching from. What's your favorite sandwich? Gonna have a good old time. Get a little bit of white onto our brush. Anytime that we drag across this wet canvas, all of those wet colors are going to interact and blend. Now here's the kicker about the whole thing. Don't drop your brush when it's full of paint. Firstly, you need to make sure everything is within reach, because once you stick these guys up there, you don't want to move it. You don't want to move it, that's for sure. All right, let's get up here. We're going to plop our second little guy there, and that's going to leave us just about, I'd say 6 inches, maybe 7 inches to the bottom of the canvas. Now, when we go around these guys, holding them tight, you don't want to move it. But when we go around, we're going to have the prettiest of all these color interactions, whether it's yellow or purple or pink. It's all going to shine through and just be gorgeous. Come around this guy very lightly. Try not to let it move. Oh, try not to push too hard on one side and not the other side, right? And no matter what, when we come down through those little colors, it's going to change and interact. It's going to be gorgeous. Now, let's take a few little bits of paint and put them around the exterior, just like we do with our auroras. Right? Just dabbing it around the exterior, making it a little funky. Get my big old hand out the way. Just using whatever paint is up the side of the brush, right? Not necessarily the tip, but up the side, and that's going to allow us some excess color that we can drag out, right? Say we didn't get enough around our portals. We're going to want to grab one of our 2-inch brushes, nice and dry one, get in there and start to drag around and watch all those colors just expand, especially with all that excess paint that we put up there. All right? The more that we drag out, the cooler our little aura around our portal painting will be. Now remember, you can get this one if you go to paintwithjosh.etsy.com. You can grab it and nab it before anyone else has a chance to get it. That's how I make my living. I teach you how to paint, and every so often, somebody will buy one of my paintings. Keeps me in business, keeps you guys learning for free, right? Just like that. Watch this. Holy moly! Which one's going to cut in front of the other one is the question. It's usually the top one, right? I'm totally having a brain fart right now. I'm totally having a brain fart. Take away. Yeah. I can't remember. I'm stuck. It's been so long since we've done a portal painting. Which portal line overlaps the other? Because it makes a difference. I'm pretty sure we always let the bottom one drop out, right? And then we fix the top one. Come in here like that. Boom. Almost positive that it's like that. Don't quote me, but almost positive. And we really don't need a strong line on the interior, because We're going to be covering it up, all of those things. Look at those gorgeous colors. Oh my goodness. Come around this guy, grab up those little bits wherever we wanted them. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to go back and put some foreground and all sorts of such all around it. But I like keeping our little stencil, I guess you could call it a stencil. I like keeping the stencil there initially when we're doing the lines because it prevents us from dragging our way back into the circle, right? Now here, a lot of times you might go too far in when you're going to grab the next bit of color and you leave a little spot. Now, it doesn't really matter what happens along the bottom. You could leave little spots all the way up into the thing if you really needed to. You really could. All right, let's take these little portal things, put them away. Now we don't have to remember how to do that for another 5-6 weeks or so. Now, let's get in here and decide what we're going to do with these cool little things, right? All we really need to do is take our white brush and start to light up all of these cool colors. So let me know where you guys are watching from. What's your favorite sandwiches? And let's say, you can see it. Let's have a little puff of cloud come popping out. Oh, it's so gorgeously yellowish into the pinky color, right? Just a bit of white up there onto our canvas. Come in with one of our brushes and just start to mix it down. And as we mix it, it starts to kind of get darker. It blends in with those colors. It's not so white anymore. It starts taking on all these different colors. So cool. So cool. Don't go too far out of your portal, though. You don't need to get out there all crazily, our clouds don't need to pop out of there yet. We have a little soft little floater cloud off in the distance. All right, a little bit thicker on this one side, a little thinner as it fades away, and then just very lightly we get to shape it. However many times we drag over it, every time that we do it, it's going to get softer and softer and softer. All right, you can come up here, you can mix it up a little mini circles if you wanted to. Up to us, right? We get to decide what's happening in our little section of clouds. Now, what if this guy had a little moon in him, right? We get a little white paint onto our finger. Come out here and just start to make a little circle, right? It gets bigger and bigger. The more you do it, the more it's going to interact with those colors out there. And then we're going to hit it with the brush and make it go a little softer. So if it's not the most perfectest circle, perfectly fine. It doesn't have to be. All right, we're going to go across it, there, up, and then across, right? Each way a few times. Just softens it down the littlest little bit. Now, let's show you a different way. If we were going to do another little moon, just to show you, if I could actually find a filbert brush. Do I have some over here? Let's see. Oh, I do. Okay. So these, I found these on Amazon. They're really cool. They're these little Bomahia. At least that's how I would say it. Bomahia? I don't know. But, in any case, they're cool little filberts, and we just need one of the little small guys. Bam. Popping out. Little teeny tiny little filbert guy, right? Make sure he's nice and soft. Watch this. We'll come in here and load up just the one side of the filbert brush. A little bit of paint. Don't need to have a whole lot. All right? A piece of hair off of there. Now we're going to turn the painted side towards the canvas. Not just the front side, right? Not on the back, just the front. So let's turn it around. Let's push it in. Make it very 90-degree onto our canvas, and then we can spin it. And as we spin it, it turns into just the most perfectest little circle you've ever seen. Some of the times, depending on how much is on your brush or how hard you're pushing, you can take away the paint right in the center. Just go across it. Boom, you got a perfect little circular moon. Just shows you 2 different ways on how to do it. So simply and easily, you just wouldn't even believe it, right? Let's see, we got a couple little soft little floaters in this guy too. A little bit thicker on the one side, a little bit over here. And then we just come back and blend it to our liking. We don't want to flick the moon this time. We don't want to touch our moon that time, right? How about that? We got a soft little bit of floating cloud off in the distance. Now, in order to make all of our dark colors, or all of our light colors kind of go back a little bit, we need to make a dark separator. And how are we going to make a dark separator? What 3 colors are we going to mix up in order to make this color that we call Paint with Josh Black? Just P-L-A-C-K, not the plaque, not like that. That's P-L-A-Q. Spellman, policeman, longshoreman, fireman, spellman. Stop me when I'm wrong, right? I can't because I'm getting too many right. Getting too many right. All right, let's come in here. Since we've mixed up our dark colors, you guys have given me some answers, I'm hoping. Blue, black, and crimson, airy fairy, Denise, everybody knows all the peoples all the time. Right? Everyone knows the blue, black, and crimson for the plaque. Now, once we have that plaque color, we're going to have to come out and decide, maybe far away in the night. Right? We'll use a different brush this time. Let's get our big old bushy brush. Pop into that plaque color. We don't need to have a whole huge amount of it onto the brush because all we're really doing is making a little disconnect out here. Popping in that darkness, adding in our little tree bits. Maybe they popped up on this side, they're a little higher. Right? Just a little different trees than our normal trees, keeping some of our clouds, some of that lighter color, some of our darkness. It adds so much more depth, right? We black out all that stuff down there. Boom! Just a little bit of craziness. They don't have to be too textured. Remember, you don't want all the texture way out here in the night, right? Now, put that brush over to the side. We'll dab it off a little bit. We'll go back in with our 2-inch brush, just very lightly at the bottom. I'm not dragging all the way through the top. These aren't like our little pine trees. But we do sort of have to soften it and then come in and start tapping at it. Now, what are you guys going to do after we finish this painting? That's my question. I am going to be over at the Glitterwick show, over on TikTok and Insta and YouTube and Facebook. They go everywhere. She's got the best software. And we're all going to be checking that out. So, if you like candles and smelly things and pretty looking colors, and you must because you're over here at the Paint with Josh show, that's where I'm going to be after. Let's take a little bit of our white onto our brush. Mix it down, smallest little thing, right? Like we barely picked up any paint at all because we don't want to have a lot. Watch this change in color because it's got that blue, black, and crimson in there. Just from adding the white paint, look at the difference in that little cloud. All right, we'll come back in, whoop, with our 1-inch brush. Always catch it, never drop a brush during a live show. Never, ever. We'll mix into small things. And all of a sudden we have a bit of foggy mist at the base of our little trees back there. Now let's say our trees are a little hard to see. What if we took just a bit of our white and just a bit, I'm talking about the smallest, that's probably too much, smallest little bit of green and white. Right, let's go back over these suckers just a little. Right? We don't want to have it be too crazy. Just a couple little taps, some bright areas, some dark areas. We're not trying to cover up every single bit, just trying to leave some indication that you can see that there's something living out there, right? Now, let's come in for some awesome little river. I love putting the rivers in the portal scenes. That way they can interact with each other. So we'll come back a little tiny bit of white. You can't even see anything on the brush. That's how small amount of white there is. All right, say we came over here and we started lighting it up. Boom, boom, boom. Very flat. It's a very flat old river off in the distance. And that little flat river is going to have to fall eventually. Can't do the whole line and then expect it to pick up back down here. Right, so we'll plop in a few little bits of splashiness. However, bright you want it. You don't want it too bright is the thing. If it's too bright, then it's going to be hard to discern which one is brighter, which one is closer when we add our second guy in there, right? So we'll come in with a small little mix, adding it up very lightly, little thing, just as soft as we can get it. Come back in here, a little bit more white onto our brush now. Now we're going to go very small little strokes to very larger little strokes until we get to our edge. Right? Once we get to our edge, we can fall into that one if we wanted to, or, you know what? We can pop it out this way and fall out that side. Either one, right? And then we put a big tree or a big bush right there to cover up whichever one that we don't want to use. And that'll be really cool if you ask me. I'm liking this other way. We'll have it fall out into some clouds down here, right? So it comes over, drops off. Got to have enough paint onto our brush, just on the one side even, right? So we'll come over there, drop it down, over, drop, over, drop, over, drop. We don't need it to be too bright. You don't want it to be too crazy, right? And then, as we slide these guys back, it'll brighten up our little river. Boom, boom, boom. However bright we want it to be, and then we go back and add our land, right? Now that our lowest part is done down there, we'll do the next little river by the time we get over there, right? Very lightly with our brush, kind of going over it, over there, very softly pulling down, because we want this one to be more noticeable, more white, more textured, more whatever, just more, right? That's why we soften that one back there a little bit more than we do in the front. Just to have it be a little closer to us. That's all we want. Just a little closeness, guys. Now remember, this one is available for sale. You can get it if you go to paintwithjosh.etsy.com. Grab it up. We're also streaming to YouTube and to Facebook simultaneously. So wherever you're watching, you could also be watching it somewhere else, right? It's also streaming over there. Wherever you're not is where it will be. Now, we got to get our 1-inch brush. You know, why don't we switch to our Paint with Josh 1-inch brush. Oh, just the most gorgeousest brush you ever done seen for making grass, let me tell you. Right in here, a little bit of our sap green, then we're going to pull down into our cad yellows. We're going to get a little bit of that yellow brightness on there as well. And then we've got it onto the tips of our brush, right? All we need to do is decide where we want to place our little line. Look at that thin, thin little line back there. And you can come in and launch in another one. You flip our brush, launch in another one. Come back. All we're doing, tapping in little lines like an email, right? Just like a typewriter used to be. You guys don't know what a typewriter is, but like an email. Right? Long little line, next one, next one, next one, next one. How bright do you want it to be? Up to you. Maybe add a little bit more yellow. Come back in and brighten up just a little area. Maybe you'll look right at that little spot, right? Just because it's different from all the rest. Now, we've got to take our brush again, back into the green, kind of loading it up, back over into our yellow, kind of pulling it down, and then tapping into it. So we're kind of loading the bristles, making them, you know what I mean, almost sharp. And we'll come back off of this guy. Now we've left a very small dark line. Don't bring your river all the way down to your water. I'm telling you, don't do it, okay? I'm being serious. You gotta leave that small little line. But on this side, right, we wouldn't see that line. So we can come right up to our river's edge and then pivot. We're gonna make a little triangle right there. That's our first little spot we have to fill up. Right, so we'll go back with our green and our yellow. Come down here, we're gonna fill up that little spot. Right down to the lines until we're done. Right? Boom. Amazing. Now, what if you wanted to go a little bit further? You can't just go straight down. Right? If we turn it and go straight down, it's going to look like it fell off the side of a cliff. Right? Kind of have to tap it each time, getting a little bit lower, a little bit longer, down to our water. But what? We got to leave that little dark separation. Right? So it just flows around like that. Is that not just the most fantasticest thing you've ever seen? Just gorgeous. Boom. Throw in a cool little grassy thing just with a couple taps. It's honestly that simple, you guys. Seriously. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Whew. Gotta have those 2-inch, your Paint with Josh brushes on. They definitely help. Now that we've got our guy all situated up there, why don't we start working out what we want our little guy to look like down here? I want to have my cloud just a little bit more pronounced. So I'm going to add a little touch of our white, just a little bit in there. Back to that cloud making brush that we were using, and just mix it up a little more randomly. So there's some bright areas, there's some dark areas, and maybe a little bit too bright right there, so we'll push on a little harder. And take the color, blend it down. Now let's go back to our, instead of having our background trees look exactly the same, let's grab another fan brush. I was trying to dig for one, I couldn't find one. Different fan brush, and let's load up that black color again. Right, I hope you made enough. Otherwise, you're going to have to pause the video, go back and make some more. Right, maybe back in here, we start those little taps. Now we can see, again, far off little trees. But those guys are different tree species. Right? They're not all the same as the other guy is. Right? So we have two different, totally different scenes interacting with each other. Taking our 2-inch brush. We've got to go through the tip tops of these, but don't touch your moon up there. That'd be bad. Just like that, right? Again, we have to soften it. You don't have to use your 2-inch brush to soften it. You could use your 1-inch brush. We're not even touching the whole brush. So you see how most of it is kind of bent away from the canvas down there? Because we're coming at it from this very sharp, steep angle. And that way we're not dragging all that darkness too far down and covering everything up. Of course, we need to add a little puff of our fog in there, right? Just doing the exact same thing, very, very small amount of paint because we don't want it to grow too much. If we put on too much, it's going to grow forever. So it's all about the 3 P's of Paint with Josh, which is a good segue. What are the 3 P's of Paint with Josh? Guys, do you know? Do you know what the 3 P's are? because you can tell me if you know. I mean, they're on my shirt, but I don't want to give away any secrets, right? So come in here with our white while you tell me the 3 P's of Paint with Josh. First, second, and third in order. Otherwise, you're not getting the extra credit. Let's grab this little river guy. He's much smaller down here, so we can literally feed him all the way to the edge, right? Gotta keep him straight though. All the way out here, getting a little bigger, until we can have our guy fall right out the side, down into the clouds or whatever, down into the ocean if we wanted it to. Honestly, depends how bright it is, on how much paint that you put down there. And flow down, drag these guys back off to the side. All of a sudden, poof, got a little river out there, flowing over. We got rivers everywhere, man. They're freaking everywhere, man. So, now that we've got our water all laid out on the bottom scene, we gotta come in with what? What comes next? What do we do in the top one? Now that we put our river in, now what do we do, right? You gotta tell me, because I forget. I'm a forgetful old dude. Should we change the color of our grass, by the way? We could do it whatever color we wanted to, right? We don't have to do it green because grass is green. We don't have to do that. You could do, you know what, I really like that orange grass that we did at Bethany's portal. So why don't we switch it up? And we'll clean off our Paint with Josh brush because it's the best grass making brush known to man. We all know it to be true. There. I mean, results speak for themselves. Right? And it's such a small, tight little brush, especially if you fill it with paint, that you can get into a very small little space. You ever been trying to oh, I don't want to touch that, and I don't want to touch that, but I need to blend out that little spot? You can't do that with a Bob Ross brush. They're too big. They're way too big. All right, let's come in and make up some of our orangey color. We're going to do it right here on the brush. Now, you know what? Let's grab our palette knife. We'll make one more little mini pile. Bit of white, smallest bit you've ever seen. Bit of our Indian yellow, bit of our cad yellow, bit of our crimson, since we don't have any red out. Oh, look at this as you mix them up. Isn't that just the most fiery, yellowy, lava, like this orangey lava color. Oh, fabulous. Now, we don't need too much of it because we're just making a little bit of grass in our downstairs portal down here, right? So we'll come over here, dragging down, and then tapping up into it. Tap, 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 tap. That way, it automatically makes the brush get very skinny, very thin. Right now, as we come down, maybe we had our little hill popping out back here. How far, how big, how tall is it? Up to us. We get to choose. Comes down. Oh, got a little orangey, grassy bit out there. Looking way cool. Come down off of this guy. The majority of this guy over here is going to be all bushes that are going to cover up trees and different things. So you don't need to have too much of it out there. Now let's say it's not bright enough. Why don't we come back a little bit more with our cad yellow. Mix that guy up just a touch into that color. Come off of this guy. And then, boom, baby. Look at that color. Oh, I love it. Leaving our little dark separation in between the river and the land itself, right? Now, you don't have to fill it all the way to the edge. Don't worry about that, because we're going to come in with our bushy brush and all of our plaque, especially right in here, right? We don't know. We couldn't figure out which way we wanted to go initially. All right, why don't we put a big old bush and a big old tree right there? So since we don't have enough to make a tree, let's make a bush, and then we're going to mix up some more Paint with Josh plaque. So get it mixed up while we're getting this guy on there. Lots of texture into this guy. Right? And we're going to come up and cover over where we need our river to go away. And then our little bushes get to dangle down and hang over the edge, right? They're way up here on the front. We'll have one big tree coming down covering that side. And then we're going to have another bush over here. One tree, popping our bushes over here. If we have enough paint, can we do it? Okay, right? Proving you don't need to paint your grass unless you're only going to have one bush. Right? If you put in one more or another tree on that side, you don't have to paint everything. Right? Now, before we get too far away, we got one more bit of white that we need to put in before we get out of these portals, and that's our clouds that are being caught in our second scene down underneath, right? So in order to catch all this water, let's throw some of this white up here, just make our little mini clouds. I don't want to go too low because my my beach and my horizon, everything's way down here, right? We want to leave ourselves some room. So don't add too much paint. As you guys know, that paint likes to grow on us, doesn't it? It will grow a whole country mile if we let it. It'll be very light, very soft. Right? As we're mixing these guys up, the more we mix it, the more color it's going to turn into like it's underneath. So you got your purplish, yellowish, purplish. That was already preset out by the colors that we added, right? If you didn't add enough color underneath, ooh, you're going to be in trouble. You are in trouble. Now look, you get those little bits of clouds. Maybe we need a bit more brightness, tapping it in, rolling it down, mixing it up, however you want it to look, just to add little things, right? Little bits. Not everything has to all be the same color or anything. That's why we add all these crazy colors out there, right? Now let's mix up some paint with plaque. Boom! 2 portals, 26 minutes. I think that's a land speed record. So, and we weren't even trying to rush. We're not even rushing. 26-minute double portal knocked it out. But who cares about that? What 3 colors do we mix up in order to make paint with Josh Black? Let me know. I've got a literal mountain of brushes amassing over here for a mega clean, just a mega clean sesh that we're gonna have to go through. Absolutely, we're all gonna go check out Glitterwix right after this show. It's gonna be fantastic. And we all know the 3 colors are blue, black, and crimson, just like that. Now, since we've got our bush brush already all messed up and nasty, we might as well continue. I like the space in between there, right? So we put one guy here, he's like draping down over the thing. We'll put a tree in between him. Maybe come out just a little bit further. Droop it down over those clouds. We end up seeing our little bits as they hang down over the side of the cloud. It's so neat, right? And it's just a whole big bunch of nonsense in the front. Take this guy, droop him down just a little over our little clouded area. Doesn't all have to be the same, right? We know we're going to have one big tree in here anyway, so we might as well take our little bush that's going to be at the bottom of him, throw some of our bushes out that side. You don't even need to put a tree if you don't want to. Just have one little stick if we wanted to do that. All right, over here, since we got it, it's got to cover a little piece of our waterfall. And then it can dangle out the hanging gardens of Joshua as they come hanging out the side, flowing down over the edge. They don't all have to be the same, length or thickness or whatever. Right? Leave our little waterfall. Very cool. Cool little way, easy little way to seal up the foreground in these portal themes for sure. Some of the times you get down to the bottom of the circle and you don't know what to do. You're like, what? Well, how do you stop all this water from just falling out? Throw some big old bushes down in there, right? Everyone gets one now and then. I know, it's a pain in the butt, but it's fine. Not a deal breaker. Okay, let's get over here and grab up our fan brush. We're going to make some trees, right? Now, do you think there's enough Paint with Josh plaque right here in this pile and whatever's left on this brush to make at least one pine tree right here? Just a big old fat evergreen. Do you think there's enough paint in this pile? Answer in the comments right now as I start to try. I'm not sure, guys. I don't know. Very, loading it up, right? Trying to get as much paint onto it as possible. Let's come out of our portal with the tip top, bang, right down into the bottom of our trees. Bottom of our bushes, anyway. Now, from the corner, that's a big old glob of paint. Okay, I'm going to show you right here. See, we have this little guy. That's our tree stump, okay? Now, from the corner of that, we're just going to touch the corner of the brush. You see how it's very small? If I were to touch the whole brush, it'd be very big, right? Just the corner a little bit, and the more we go down, the bigger we touch, right? Now I gotta scoop up all that paint so we can use it. Over here, angled out towards ourselves, and then we got our little corner over there like that. And then, as the more that we tap down, the more we push on to it, kind of extending out the little branches, right? A lot of times, I don't like doing the whole tree at once. We get the top all set up how we want, then we'll come in here and we'll try to load up the brush as much as possible and go down on one side. And you might not be able to see this side because where the camera's sitting. That's okay. I'm going to show you the exact same thing off the other side. And I'm telling you guys, do you think we've got enough paint here? We just might. We just might. Everybody who said yes, I think we have enough. You guys might be taking it home today. Okay, off of our trunk, which you can still see is right down the front. We're going to contact the corner of the brush first. So as it comes in and taps out, the more little bits that we go down, the harder that we have to push, touching our whole brush, right? And angling it as we go so we can get those branches to kind of angle upwards. And then you have this fat little tree shape out there that's all really dark. And we got to go back and highlight that sucker, right? We need to make it so you can see some of those branches. We don't want to see all the branches. We just need to see some, right? If we can just get a couple branches to light up and retain all that darkness, that's what we really want to have. Now let's come in, grab up a little bit more of that plaque, which is going to be just enough to make our one little tree trunk over here, actually two little tree trunks. Let's come down like this, pushing harder in as you go down. See how the brush is full pressed? The bristles have split apart on that side, versus up here we were touching very light, so it was just a little teeny tiny little guy. Come down with our last bit of plaque. We can get it, guys, it's there. Right, one more little piece. Oh, I'm gonna throw the biggest branch right through that moon right there. Bang, whole thing, just two little bits, right? Then we gotta go back and decide where we're gonna throw branches off of those guys and how tall they're gonna get versus how they sit right now, right? Just because they're that tall doesn't mean they're not gonna get taller. As soon as we start throwing branches off of them, they like to grow a little bit. All right, you know what? We needed one more bit of plaque mixed up for our section right here. Oh, yeah, we don't need a lot, though. I just want one little sticky tree right there. I was going to put a little pine tree right there, but I'm thinking a little sticky tree would be perfectly perfect. So we're going to mix up our blue, black, and crimson paint again. And if this one is still in my store, I don't know if it is or not, because we stream on all 3 platforms on Fridays. Therefore, I don't have a device that I can check it on. So if it is still there, you could grab it if you go to paintwithjosh.etsy.com. And if it's not, then thank you for getting it, someone, because it's already sold. If it's not on the site, that means it's already gone. So let me take this guy from way up here, be very light and get harder and harder, and boom! Curse Peloosh right into those bushes. Oh, man. That just added so much depth, right? Just so much depth. Everyone said yes, we had exactly the right amount of plaque. I like that. Everyone is way better at it than I, that's for sure. That's for sure. That's why I have so much extra paint on my palette by the end of the day, right? Now, let's go grab our little liner brush. We're going to be using the Paint Brand liner brush because the Paint with Josh liner brush has not yet come in the mail. I've had them work on the liner brush more than any of the other brushes so far. And if it's not perfect, then I'm going to be so angry. But no, they sent me 3 versions of the Paint with Josh liner brush, and I'm going to choose my favorite one. We're going to rock and roll with that. All right, we're going to get our odorless mineral spirits into the Paint with Josh plaque mix, spinning and rotating our brush as we pull it out of the plaque mix, giving it a little sharp tip. And then we can come up here and start going into those colorful areas. If there's no color behind your branches, they're not going to stand out, right? So you have to have that green, those green trees, our pinky clouds, the brightness up in here. You need to have it. Otherwise, our branches just don't stand out. There's nothing to catch your eye up there, right? We need those little things out there to catch our eyeballs. Helps us traverse the whole painting and look at all the little details as we go around, right? Cool little bits. Don't all even have to be perfect, quote-unquote, branches. Like, I was driving we were going to the coast the other day, right? You saw my Seascape paintings over the last few days. So we were driving to the coast, and before you get to the coast, you have to drive through the forest. And I wasn't driving, so I got to look at every tree that we passed and inspect it and go, ooh, how would I paint this guy? And how much longer we just made that little tree, right? Just grab it onto it, straight up through the top with Paint with Brand's super thin liner brush, and then now we can start popping off our branches. Told you we were going to put one straight through the moon. It really catches your eye, and at least lets you know there's another tree out there in the night. Right? Now, some of the times, the further you get up away from your portals, it's going to be harder to see your branches out there. So don't work on them too hard. Right? You don't have to spend so much time in an area that we're not even going to be looking at. But if you can get a piece to pop out, and then you go, ooh, what's that? Oh, it's connected to that tree. Ah, yes, I see. I see, right? This helps our eyes kind of pick up more things, look at more little things more closely. If you have some sort of irregularity, and you're like, ooh, okay, okay, oh, whoa, you back up and you gotta look at the whole thing in one go, right? Now, it's a wicked painting in 35 minutes if you say that, or if you know, that's a wicked painting if I do say so myself for 35 minutes. Let me back up on that. A little bit of white, a little bit of our dark sienna brown, maybe a touch of that orange color that we had made. Ooh, just to give it a little touch, a kiss. All right, come in here. Our moon is off onto this side, so let's just say we'll catch all of our light on the side of the tree, just touching it, moving up. Don't need anything really more than that. The more you add to it, the more people will expect it to be perfect, quote unquote. If you just have a couple little details out there that are catching our eye in the night sky, right? All it does, again, helps your eye go, ooh, what is that brown? Oh, okay, it's on that tree. I see the whole thing now, you know what I mean? This helps our eye traverse the painting. Little things, doesn't even have to be everywhere, I'm telling you. Doesn't even have to be on the branches. You can put it on some of your biggest branches if you want. Just a little bit of brownery coming out over there. Doesn't even have to go all the way to the tip. I'm so serious. You can't physically see every highlight on every branch, on every tree, all the time anyway, right? We're not ever going to see that. And if you only see highlights, then your tree is going to look very flat because you don't have any of those deep, dark under shadows that help make our branches look a little bit more round. Right? That's why we don't cover the whole tree in highlight, because it wouldn't look round if it was all brown everywhere. Right? You have to have those differences, and those little things and little taps and little dark areas are what are going to help sell your painting. I swear on my life. Let's come over here. A couple little bits of our tree trunk into our tree over here. And now we need a smaller brush, right? What's the secret? Do you know the secret to Paint with Josh trees? Do you know? Because I've told you many times. You got to tell me, though. The painting is sold. Hey! Who got this one? Anybody? Or to Josh? You guys are so funny. So the painting is sold. Hey, hey, baby. Oh, good. I was hoping I would hit the right button. Look, you can't even see the buttons anymore. They're all just worn away, and you can't even. There's paint splatter all over it. So this painting sold, everybody. That makes Josh happy beyond all belief. Because now I can pay my rent at the end of the month. Woo! All right. So we're going to have to start coming up with a title for this. You got to remember, when the paintings get bought during the live show, the person that bought them gets to pick the title. So, we'll get back to our secret of Paint with Josh trees, by the way. I just got to know who got this. Who did it? Who done did it? Anybody? 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 Love all you guys over there on Facebook. You guys are my favorites. Everyone over on YouTube. Man, it looks so good. Just looks so fantastic. Icon. You guys, enough with the icon. It was a long time ago. A long, long time ago. We're talking 3-4 years ago. All right, let's get a little bit of our liquid white. We need to have our liquid white, and you can tell mine is just about near the end of its life. There's a lot of paint stuck at the back of the jar back there. It's very kind of thick and chunky. It's not the normal consistency that liquid white is, so we have to be careful with it. I would suggest if yours look like this, just get a new jar. Don't try to force it, right? But since Paint with Josh has done 1,353 paintings, I can mess around with this thick stuff, and it's not so bad, right? But for you, just get some regular old liquid white, get it into our little petri dish, we like to call it. And the only reason we call it a petri dish is because something's got to be living inside there by now. Like, it's just foul. Just foul. So, just foul. It's gross. All right, so the secret to Paint with Josh trees, right? Do you know? We take a large fan brush to make the tree, and we take a smaller fan brush to highlight the tree. You can actually fit about 2 of these fan brushes inside the one bigger one, right? That, to me, makes it easier so we don't put on too much color, right? If we put on too much color, we're gonna lose all of our dark area. And when we lose all of our dark area, that's when things turn to poo, because our painting and our tree no longer looks like a thick, deep, full thing. It just looks like a flat bit of nonsense. So we need to get our liquid white, which is very runny usually and very drippy. And since we only have one, let's go into our green for our shadows. So sap green onto the liquid white. Remember, we don't need so much liquid white onto the brush. And what this is very important right here. Which part of our brush is actually going to be contacting the canvas? Can you tell me? That's a good question, okay? What part of our brush is actually going to hit the canvas and make shapes? Here's your answers, A or B. Is it the tip of the brush, right? Just the paint that's on the very tip, is that all that's gonna touch? Or are we making our shapes with the paint that has climbed its way up the side of the trees, right? We're going with B. It's B. Okay, so let's come over here. That's why we turn our brush and angle it so the tip of the brush is not actually touching the painting at all. We're making these shapes by the paint that has climbed its way up our little bristles, right? That's why when you turn it, look at that. We just contacted one corner of the brush because we're just tapping at it on this one side. We're not coming at it from the front. We didn't flip it over and use the other side. We just tapped against that one bit. So if you can imagine that, right? Turning your brush and then holding it so just that one bottom corner is getting touched. That is how you're gonna deposit that paint, okay? And remember, it's not the paint on the tip. The paint on the tip of the brush instantly goes away. It's what is on the sides. It's climbed up the edges of our brush, right? A little bit more of our liquid white. Again, don't need too much. Let's go to this orange color because it's gorgeous. Ooh, Nelly. Right, tap it in there. That little orangeness. It's not wet enough, I can tell. Right? I can't tell you what the right mixture is. There's no ratio that I can give you. You just need it to be wet, right? Like just slobbery, stinking, sloppy wet. Come over here like this, start tapping on it very lightly. Sometimes you're not even contacting the canvas because I'm trying to tap so lightly, right? Sometimes you miss. You don't touch the whole thing. Now, even though we've just covered it up with all these green and orange highlights, what have we left in between them all, right? What's in between all those little green, yellow, orangey bits? There's only one answer that I will accept, and it's going to be on the final exam, so you better be paying attention now, okay? What have we left in between? Somebody must know out here in internet land. Kimberly, I like Jesse Dino. Darky bits. Dark separators. Who's that? Jennifer, TMH, Jesse, Kimberly, Tabby, Wendy. Everything cosmic. Everybody knows. Ari knows it's the smooth operators, right? Laura Marshall on Facebook's been paying attention. You guys, I'm telling you, man. Nikaya over here on YouTube's been paying attention. Right? Now, let's get a few little bits onto our bushes, and we'll be all set and ready to go, right? We've already done our highlights on our trees. Grass. The only thing left in this plaque is this guy, and then we got to really be fast and throw in some Seascape at the bottom. Luckily for us, it's an easy one, right? Get a little bit of our green, tapping into our brush, a little bit of our liquid white onto it as well, and let's go off of our bottom sides, not trying to cover every bit. Boom, 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 boom. Just the bottom shadowy bits. Not everything is going to be contacted in our brightness. Then we'll get a little bit more of our liquid white off of this side and come back into our orangey color. Tap that guy on. Couple little bits. You can let them dangle over the side, right? However we want it to look. Maybe we want this guy to be a little bit more yellow on this side. And going down in the front, not every bush or bit is going to be hit by light, so don't worry about that. Pop them in these little guys. Boom, 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 boom. Right? Wherever we want them to be. Cool little things. Just wicked awesome little things. Now, let's throw in our little seascape at the bottom. Little Oregon style seascape. Not your regular old paint with Joshy kind of seascape. At least not the old style one. It's about to be the new style one. Now, in order to throw in our little bit off in the distance, right, this little bit of clouds has to ride above. Oh no, my poor mold stick is falling. Has to ride above our seascape, right? So whatever we do, it has to be below this guy. Now, let's put a little bit of darkness underneath, just a little bit. Doesn't have to be the craziest thing. We're gonna come out here. Pop in our little bit of faraway water, right? Now, if we can come in just with a few little bits, I don't want it to get too bright at all. Too many different places. Out there like that, and over here we want to have a whole other section that'll brighten up. Out there, out there, out there. Nothing too crazy, guys. A little bit of water, flatten it out, right? Pulling on it, pushing on it, smooshing on it, mushing on it. Very cool. A little bit of thing happening out there. Now we just got to go pipe in some of our crush and watery bits, right? Now we're going to have a whole bunch of big stuff happening down here in the front. And we have some off in the distance out there, in which case we'll just really lightly kind of swipe over them, make them look a little further away. Take their base, pull it out a little bit. This guy, right, we didn't swipe over, so he looks a little bit more full, right? So we have our water come in this way, a little bit of sand. Boom, 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 just coming down from the side. Sneak a little bit of color back up into this guy like that. Woo, baby! That is cool. Just how many different ways can you do a seascape, Josh, in the last few days? My goodness. Just one, it's crazy how one trip to the beach can inspire you so much and change literally everything. Literally everything. Now, we're going to come out here. Let's decide. We got a few more little bits. They're rolling back, rolling in, right? Leaving a little bit of space in between. Not every place has to all be perfect. I'm going to grab some of these guys. Let them out. Little things, little things. Now I want to have one more bit in here. This guy's going to be a bit bigger. Crash here. Right? Just having a little bit more paint. Swiping down, pulling away. Very softly. Very softly. Oh, oh, oh. Little bits of water out there in the night, right? Where do you want to have those bright spots? You want to have them sliding in our little waves everywhere, right? And we get to choose what it looks like, where it's going, how thick they are, how much it's crashing, how bright it is, little bits, right? All up to us. We get to choose. I never like to have too many real deep, dark areas like that, especially right in the front. That's kind of cool. Now that we've got that kind of background deal going, right? We'll go over it very softly. Grab our palette knife up. Start coming in with a bit more of our watery little things. Just by leaving little streaks. Our palette knife right on top with that little kind of foaminess floating over our colorful little water. Right, wherever we want it to be, start getting all these little crazy bits. Crazy bits that are washed up onto the shard, matey. Washed onto the shard. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, 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 it's magic. You know. More and more brightness out there just because we want to see it. There we go. So softly over these lines in the front that you barely even touch them. Now we're going to come back in with a little bit more of our white, a little bit of our colors down. There's the purple. Oh goodness, light up this whole purple each. Let's put a little bit more purple into our brush. Oh yeah, a little bit of that dioxazine purple. Drop it down, little thing. Now we're going to need a lot of pressure and a lot of reps in order to make this turn into sand, right? A lot of downward strikes, streaks, swipes, whatever you call them. Trying to leave a little darkness in between our water and our sandy beach, right? Now we've got to pull away from our ocean towards the land. away, away, away. Just like that. And I'm going to swipe it back towards that bit of, last little bit of darkness, little dark line I'm going to try to save, right? Sneak him up underneath there, and now all of a sudden, we got all this crazy bit of water out there, right? And depending on the size of our dark separator, if you shrink it down even further, like little bits of sand on the water, boom, 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 boom. Oh, so cool. Oh, I like that. That one is neat, you guys. Let's get a little bit of our liquid white, drop it down onto our beach as well. Just because the liquid white really helps it shine like water. Right? So we'll streak it down like this. A little bit of liquid white in there. Drag it across. Sneak that guy back up underneath. Oh, that wetness, right? It just makes it look more wet to me. Just crazy. Who got this one anyway, guys? Has anybody fessed up to getting this one yet? Because I'm curious. I'm a tad curious as to who grabbed and nabbed. Stole it from everyone. Oh yeah, bit of dark right. All the little shadows and dark spaces back in here. Not everywhere's all got to be exactly the same, right? Not everything is all going to be dragging exactly the same up into every wave. So we can leave little dark areas and little spots of stuff. Just stuff that we want to do. Little bits of stuffs. We put them wherever we want to put them. Back in here like this. Crasher's rolling in, dude. Just rolling in. Oh, I like it. Oh, I like it. Just cover up a little bit right there. Fabulous. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I dig it. Very, very light touch. Bang. Just 2 times. That's it. All right, guys. Who got this one? Does anyone know? Thank you, Rennie. Appreciate you. Everybody watching. Thank you, Laura. Appreciate you. So, thanks, Todd. Is it, did anybody over on YouTube grab it? Somebody grabbed it up. Let's see. Okay. Well, oh, thanks, Jess. Appreciate you. Very fun little beachy scene right out here in the night. So let's sign it up, and then, since we don't have a buyer, we can't find it. I'm gonna have to end one of the streams, and probably be over on the YouTube or the Facebook for sure. So let's come out here, take our little birds, throw them right out there into the scene, just flying through the night, and then we'll slide it down on this side. Right there into the sand. Oh, that wet, soft, sandy beach. What's the best part about the beach? So hard to walk on until you get down to that wet sand where it's all compacted like asphalt, and then you can just walk on it like a street. But the struggle to get down there, oh my. My poor feet. Okay. Well, guys, this one turned out fantastic. Everybody over on YouTube and on Facebook will say goodbye to you guys since I don't know where the buyer is, and I need one of my devices in order to see. So, yes, you did, Mark Anderson. Thanks for tuning in, dude. Mark Anderson watches from Ireland, you guys. You know how late it is in Ireland? Oh, is it Nakaya on YouTube that got it? Hey, girl. Thank you for buying this one. You're amazing. Okay, so, give me a name, Nakaya. What do you got for a name on this guy? And we'll title it up. And then we'll get up on out of y'all. Get ready to go watch the Glitterwick show. And then we'll be back later on to paint Gandalf in space. That one's gonna be cool. So, if you're around in about an hour after London gets done with her show, and you're still wanting to watch some form of entertainment, we all know there's not a lot on TikTok worthy of watching compared to all that there is. You know, I mean, there's a lot of stuff on TikTok. Way too much stuff. There's some really cool people I watch, so like Sonnet. I tune into custom designs by Jen. I think that's what it is, or Four Daughters designs something or other. We watch Unicorn Dust Supply sometimes. The Turtle team, my guys over there, they bought a painting from me too. So the Turtle team, one of my faves. But Eve's Creations, Coachable, I see those guys sometimes. Paint by Jay Studios, Jonathan Everly, I watch him sometimes. There's lots going on TikTok, but come on, guys, come on. So if you're still around and you're bored with whatever's going on, come back in about, I'd say, an hour or so. I'll be doing Gandalf in space. It'll be really cool. All the brushes cleaned up, and we're gonna come in right under the time limit too. Yes, perfect. This. And I wonder if London's trying to co-host yet. Should be any second now. Did the rowboat one sell last night? Yes, but it did. But, okay, I also, because it sold so fast, I have redone 2 more rowboat paintings that I plan on painting. This one has the black hole. And this one is just a moonlight, maybe got a little cabin. I could cover it if I didn't like it. I was messing around with it last night. So the cabin may stay, it may go. But I do have some more boat paintings coming out soon. So if you're looking for boats, then hit me up on Etsy. Let me know. Send me a message. I could literally list that boat painting, send you the link directly, and then poof, it's yours, right? So first come, first serve. That's how we do it around here. But you guys have all been fantastic. Nakaya, you're awesome over on YouTube. So let me just say goodbye to the YouTube and the Facebook stream. I can't wait to see your guys' versions of this painting. Please send it into facebook.com/officialpaintwithjosh. And until I see you again next time, take care. Have the rest of a good day. And blah, blah. Boom, boom. One of these times I'm actually going to knock the camera over. I think that's what's